Well, hello there and welcome to this webinar. And this is the second webinar in the Delivery Cluster Booklet series. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed the first webinar, which was the short answer questions and helping you get the right perspective when you answer those questions. So welcome to this second webinar, where essentially we're going to go through the projects and the presentation requirements that you will have for each of the sessions. All right. Now, I imagine most of you will do your presentations at a workshop with Success Training Academy, or you may do them in your workplace. Just remember though, if you do it in your workplace, you will need to film it. And there are certainly some requirements around that. If you are going to film it, we recommend that you film it on your phone or a camera and then upload it. You can either upload it to Dropbox or you can upload it to YouTube or Vimeo and then send us through the link. That's totally fine. If you are coming to a actual face-to-face workshop, then that'll be fine. You'll be able to do that in front of your trainer and you'll be able to be supervised and assessed on the spot. Okay, so let's come through. Last time we talked about the short answer questions, and let's scroll all the way down through this admin stuff and through the short answer questions. And we will kick it off with the projects, okay? So, assessment task 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, presentations. If you notice at any time the numbering is slightly off, don't worry, your tasks will be exactly the same, but we may have just updated the book or made a slight change here or there, okay? So, essentially, you can take your time and read through these details, and essentially it's just telling you what's going to be required for your presentations, okay, and what needs to be included in your session plans, okay. So in total, you're going to have 3 sessions that you're going to need to deliver, okay? So the first session, the first training session that you'll need to deliver is to a group from Julie Smithers' real estate office, okay? You're required to choose a unit from the learning program that you've created for Julie Smithers in the design cluster booklet, and imagine that Julie's entire team would like to join in on one of the sessions with Julie. The admin team consists of, we got Morag, Julie, Brian, Elizabeth, and Charles, right? And they have some characteristics there, and we can read that in depth, okay? Now, code and title. You could choose any of the units that you had in the original program, such as payroll, such as what else do they have? Maybe making Excel spreadsheets, anything. We even had organized meetings. We had organized schedules. It could be anything at all from the Cert 3 business admin or any of the other units that you may have recommended if you didn't do the Cert 3 business admin, okay? So you're going to put in the code, you're going to put in the title of the unit that it relates to, okay? And you even have some suggested topics here that you could work with. These are just suggestions to help you understand that we're looking for quite simplistic things. You don't need to overcomplicate the training session, okay? Now, I've got, please describe the real estate office's team's potential characteristics. So you're going to basically restate some of these things, and you're going to elaborate a little bit more, of course. Okay, what are 3 ways that you'll incorporate, adjust your delivery to cater for the audience's characteristics? So that's quite an important question. We want you to put in quite a bit of detail on that and really have a think about how are you going to alter your session. So, for example, you may make it quite fun and active, or you may decide to make it more, I guess, textbook focused, and have like more intense classroom discussion, whatever it might be, okay? But you've got to come up with ways based on the characteristics that you know up here. How are you going to cater your session? All right, you're going to have longer time for technology. Are you going to bring in lots of videos? How are you going to cater your session? All right, so now we've got a bit of a description about presentation 2 and 3. Presentation 2 and 3 are very specific. we're going to be asking you to do 2 training sessions on a specific length of 40 minutes each, okay? And they must be to a different group to the first presentation that you do, okay? So the first presentation that you do, the numbers are a little bit more flexible, and you can have numbers of 4 or 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we've got 5 learners that we've stipulated here, but your second and third presentation needs to be to groups of 8, okay? So now, let's take a look at the safety requirement. Oh, and I'll talk about presentation 2 and 3 a little bit more detail later on, okay? But safety requirements for your sessions, okay? It's asking you to do a classroom hazard and risk assessment, okay? So it's going to ask you to go into the venue or the area that you'll be delivering your sessions and go ahead and tick yes or no, yes or no, yes or no for each of these items, okay? Now, certainly you can put NA for any of the items if they are not appropriate, okay? So you can go through that, tick yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, and there's no problems if it's a no, but you will need to make a note later on as to how you are going to deal with that risk or hazard, okay? So I'm going to come down, okay? So I've got a space here for you to write the risks. Okay, and when it says measures, it's going to ask you to think about how are you going to handle this risk, or how are you going to deal with it so that it doesn't become a hazard for people. Okay, so giving an example, it could be cords on floor cause trip hazard. Okay, measure, we will tape down the cords so that people can no longer trip on them. Okay, or we will remove the cords so that they are out of people's harm's way. Trainer, go ahead, put your name in and sign it, and then put the date. Okay, you don't need to fill out 3 of these for each of your sessions, just 1 is fine, because we're assuming that you're going to conduct all 3 sessions in the same area. Naturally, if you're not, you may want to fill out another form for each of the places you're going to deliver your session. All right. Part 2, obtain a copy of the evacuation procedures for your proposed venue or venues. And we want you to attach that. Okay, so normally in venues they will have a picture on the wall or a basic evacuation plan. So we want you to take a photograph of that and attach it to your assessment workbook, okay? By doing so, you're showing to us that you understand what are the procedures if you need to evacuate and if you need to inform your learners about that, okay? Now, part B here is saying list the 6 steps that you would mention to your learners so that they could leave the area and they could follow the evacuation procedures. So these could be things like if alarm rings, stop work. If it goes whoop whoop, this will be the sign to leave the evacuation area. Oh, sorry, leave the building, if that makes sense. Okay, so you're going to go through the 6 steps. And the final step could be stay in evacuation area until otherwise notified. Okay, but just list through the steps that you'd expect somebody to inform their students of. Okay, coming down. Now we have an example session plan with everything filled out. Okay, now with the actual first one or first session, we're expecting, although we've got an example here of 5 to 10 minutes, we're really looking for around 15 to 20 minutes for your first session. Okay, 15 to 20 minutes for your first session. Okay, so in here, I'll just walk you through it. We've got welcoming the learner, and we've got learner outcomes and learning outcomes by the end of the session. You will be able to, and at this one, we're talking about adjusting rifle scope, okay, and firearms. Don't worry too much about the content. This was just an example we took from something that we've seen in this particular area. All right, now, Ground rules, we want to talk about what would be the expected ground rules for your venue and for you as a trainer. So ground rules could be number 1, no texting. Number 2, come back from breaks on time. Number 3 could be no talking while others are talking. Number 4 could be put answers into a sentence. Okay. Reasons for learning. Basically, it could be within your job role, you'll need to be able to do X, Y, Z, right? Safety and housekeeping, you'll go through that in a little bit of detail. Agenda, what's going to be covered in the session, and then you're going to explain the content, and then we're going to go through into an activity, okay? And you're going to explain the activity. Then we're going to have a bit of a summary of what's been covered in the session. And then conclusion, going forward, what needs to be remembered, and going forward, what are future assessment tasks that need to be done, okay? Now, this session plan can be written up in any way, shape, or form that you choose, but these are just some suggestions and some things to think about. So agenda is what's going to be covered, and then in the body, this is essentially how you're going to cover it. And it could be anything at all. So it could be role plays, it could be case studies, it could be class discussions, it could be activities, it could be all the ways that you are going to cover the content, if that makes sense, okay? So, and remember, the summary is what's been covered, and the conclusion and assessment is going forward, what do you want people to most remember, okay? And we've got some timings along the side here as well, okay? Now, we have the session plan for session plan 1, and you're going to fill that out based on, remember, the Julie Smithers real estate situation, okay? And the length of time that we're recommending for this is around 15 to 20 minutes, okay? Now, that is session 1, all right, and now is the attendance form for session 1, okay? So we've got minimum 4 participants in here, so we definitely want all the learners' names, their phone numbers, email addresses, and signatures, okay? Now, the reason we've got this is for authenticity, okay? So that AskWork could just double check that the people that turned up really did turn up, okay? So in the scenario, I think we've got 5 people listed, and here you may want to make sure that you've got 5 names, but we do want a minimum of 4 participants, just because we find that 4 participants is a good number to be running a training session on and is easiest to facilitate, okay? So you're going to put your name, the session title. So it could be learning to fill out a timesheet. It could be dealing with stress. It could be, let's see, operating payroll, making Excel spreadsheets. It could be anything like that. And date could be whatever the date was that you performed your training session, okay? So now, coming down, this is for your trainer and assessor to fill out on you, okay? But we want you to fill out this top part for sure, okay? So this is your name, session title, date of delivery, location where you perform the delivery, and number of learners, okay? And the rest is to be filled out by your assessor. So they're going to tick yes or no based on the training session that you delivered, okay? Now, we've got the feedback form for one of your participants to fill out on you, okay? So that is given to one of the participants that sat through your session, and they're going to give you some feedback, okay? Now, it's very important that the feedback that you receive isn't just strongly agree for everything, because that looks a little bit weird. I mean, ultimately, you want good quality feedback. They may give you strongly agree for everything, but you know, it's much healthier if they put in some comments and justify why they may have said that, okay? And we definitely want them to answer these questions down below. All right. Now, self-reflection, we want you to now sit down and think about your session and think about what were the key areas that you did extremely well, and also, more importantly, what are 3 things that you would do differently going forward based on this feedback and also based on your own self-reflection, if that makes sense, okay? Because there is never ever a perfect training session, and there is only a great session based on that group that you may have had, and also thinking about the future, how are you going to enhance your performance going forward? Okay, so coming down, we now have session plan 2. So you're going to fill out this session plan 2, and this one can be based on any other unit that relates to your specific work environment. Okay, so you could pick anything at all that relates to your industry, and ideally it relates to something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, okay? Now, naturally, you do want to make sure that it's an engaging and relevant topic for not just yourself, but also for other people as well, okay? But we don't want you to try and reinvent the wheel. Please talk about and deliver content that you are very familiar with, okay? So you're going to fill out the session plan. And if you need inspiration for this, definitely go back to the one that you wrote for session plan 1 and grab some ideas. But we're really looking for you to put in things like role plays, class discussion, and activities that are really going to get students involved. And if you need more space, just add more sheets. Okay, so you're going to come through, fill out session plan 2. Now, here we've got the attendance form for session plan 2. And we want to make sure that we've got 8 learners listed here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got space for 8 names. Make sure that you do put in 8 names, all right? Otherwise, it's not going to meet the requirements, okay? So, well, phone numbers, emails, and signatures, of course, all right? Now, this is another form. This is the checklist that's going to be filled out by your trainer assessor. So make sure that you fill out these parts and then you leave the rest for your assessor to fill out as they observe you delivering your presentation. Okay, this is a feedback form. This is filled out by one of your participants. Okay, we got self-reflection 2. All right, so essentially what are 3 things you would do differently from your session? Okay, and sometimes people get a little bit strange when I ask, what's 3 things you would do differently? They say, well, nothing. Well, what we need to appreciate is there is no such thing as a perfect training session. There never will be, and there are always ways that we can tweak things to make them better over time. And these things could be as simple as when I give instructions for XYZ activity, I will say this instead of what I said in my training session, as it seemed to create some confusion. Or I will be more careful of my timing, that kind of thing. All right. Or when I do my self-introduction, I will say it this way as opposed to what I did. Okay. Coming down. All right, we got session plan 3. All right, and this is again for 40 minutes. All right, so you're going to go through, fill this out. Okay, make sure that this is filled out. All right, and this is going to be filled out just like we've done for the other 2. All right, we got some feedback from our participants. All right, self-reflection. Okay, and that, folks, is your 3 presentations. Okay, that's your 3 presentations. So I'm hoping that's made sense so far. And now let's head into the next project. Okay. Now the next project you'll be able to work through in your own time, and at the same time the trainer will go through it in the workshop in a little bit of detail, and in the workshop you may cover one of them, and then you will need to go out and complete the other one by yourself, okay? But in this webinar, I'll go through both of them, and I'll show you exactly what to do, how to access documents and all of that. Okay, but what I'll get you to do is have a read through the scenario. I'll give you a couple moments to do that. All right, so we have two staff members and they're working in a coffee shop. Now, Toby is not great with the old customer service, okay? And Sally, on the other hand, is very good with customer service, but she's not so great with making cups of coffee, okay? So we're going to come down, and essentially the task is asking you to develop two learning pathways, work-based pathways for these individuals, okay? And we've got a number of templates to help you do that, all right? So we've got a meeting with Toby prior to developing the session plans, and we've got some information that you're going to read through, okay? And then we have scenario one. So we've got date of initial consult. Well, let's see. Okay, so we're going to put in a date that we are filling this out. Name of organization will be Coffeeholics. Type of business is going to be coffee shop, okay? Competency standards, you can tick. Competency standards, all right? Contact person, we're going to say Tim Jones. Position, coffee shop owner. Phone, you can make that up. Email could be timjones@coffeeholics.com, okay? What are the biggest areas of concern for your employees' performance? So we're imagining we're talking to Chris Jones as we go through, Tim Jones as we go through this form, all right? So biggest areas of concern could be things like ability to relate to customers, ability to handle customer complaints, ability to greet customers in a friendly, happy manner, an ability to create a good, warm customer experience. Okay, what do you need your employee to be able to do? Client said they need employee to be able to create repeat business, create a happy atmosphere, create a polite and happy manner, and great rapport with customers. Okay, client learning requirements needs. All right, so it could be the employee works 3 shifts a week. He can only be trained during work time, all those different kind of things. Okay, your recommendation to your client. Okay, so competencies, competency or competencies that could be mapped to client requirements. So in here, what we're going to do is we're going to go to training.gov.au and we're going to find something that would relate to customer service. And in this case, we are recommending potentially that you work with SITS 000036 customer service. Okay. Now, we only suggest this, you don't have to, but it is quite a good customer service skill set and is quite appropriate. So we've got 2 units that could be quite appropriate for this situation. So what we've got here is this code and this title. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that code and title in here. Okay, so just to, all right, so we've got SITS 0036 customer service. So you want to write that down and then put that in there. Okay. Now, delivery assessment context and pathways. So it could be Toby will be trained on the job during his 3 shifts a week, and he will be supervised by a mentor in his workplace, and he will also have individual learning activities that he will need to get through. Okay. Possible schedule for delivery and assessment activities. Well, you could say Toby will be trained every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings. Okay, totally up to you how you set that up. Okay, characteristics of likely learners. So you could say Toby is a part-time hospitality student. He is the son of the owner. He is enthusiastic, but sometimes disorganized, and he has high aspirations and wants to succeed in life, but disorganized or has a bit of an attitude. Okay, WHS requirements specific to this workplace. So you could say appropriate PPE must be worn in the coffee shop, and what else might we have? An evacuation policy procedure must be followed at all times when required. Okay, relevant workplace documents. This could be staff manuals, WHS handbooks, all those different kind of things. Okay, trainer signature. Make sure you sign it and put the date. All right, learning pathway for individual. All right, so name of RTO, you can put in Success Training Academy. Name of a trainer assessor, you can put in your first name and last name. Client and employee's name, put in, what did we have? Coffeeholics and Toby Smith, I believe it was. Okay, goals of the work-based learning pathway. You could put in things like to upskill candidates' ability to greet customers, provide great customer service, and create repeat business. Okay, name, class, role. This could be Toby Smith. Job description, responsibilities. Go back to the intro and identify what are his responsibilities, but you could presuppose also that it's going to be things like serve customers at register, take orders, all those different kind of things. Okay, make coffee, clean the shop. Okay, career goals. Or maybe you could put in that his goal is to become the shop supervisor for the afternoon shift and one day own his own coffee shop. Okay, profile and characteristics. You can put in currently a university student, studying Cert 3 in hospitality, and hard worker, but has typical motivation issues for his age group, whatever it might be. Okay, so training package code and title of the qualification. So training package is going to be, if we come back here, we've got training package is SIT, tourism, travel and hospitality, and it comes from the let's just go with the skill set SITS, and you can put that in here. So training package is going to be SIT. What was that again? Okay, so we had SIT, tourism, travel and hospitality, or you could use a let's go back to my sheet. Okay, you can go back to you can, don't worry about the code and title of the qualification as such, but training package, you definitely want to put that in. If you are going to use an entire qualification, you can write that in there as well. Okay, now we have the unit of competency. So in this case, we have the two units here. So we've got this unit and we've got this unit. Okay, so those are two units that could form part of it. So you got that unit, and this could be 2 weeks and 20 hours, or 3 weeks and 30 hours. Okay, and this could be 3 weeks and 30 hours. Okay, so for this unit, it could be 20 hours or more. Totally up to you how long you want the length of time for this unit that we're looking at here. So we're going to put that unit in that first line. We're going to put the second unit in the second line. And you could say that the unit will take 40 hours to complete or 20 hours to complete, however much it might be. Okay. C and E stands for core or elective. Core or an elective. Okay. Assessment method is how are you going to assess that unit? So it could be observation, a written test, or simulated tasks, or verbal interview, whatever it might be. Okay, so for that unit, how are you going to assess it? For that unit, how are you going to assess it? Okay, so total duration, you want to add up the hours that you've got here. So maybe it comes to 40 hours or 50 hours, whatever. Okay, so delivery strategies and options. So these could be face-to-face workshops, independent study, online learning. It could be mentoring in the workplace, whatever. Okay. Organizational strategies. So the following strategies are proposed to support the work-based learning pathway. So this could be time away from work to complete training. It could be a flexible shift. It could be adding on extra staff so that the shop isn't under too much pressure. Things like that. All right. Monitoring learning. So this is essentially saying, how are you going to monitor Toby's progress? So it could be weekly catch-up meetings with the trainer, weekly catch-up meetings with Toby to see how he's going, and making sure maybe that he's filling out a self-reflection journal. All right, following strategies be used to address barriers to effective participation. So this could be, again, a flexible work schedule. It could be allowing him to spend 30 minutes or an hour going through his materials once he gets to work, okay? All those different things. What else? We may also set him up with a workplace mentor that's dedicated to his success, okay? Now, we need to create a program budget, and we're going to go through salary of staff, trainers, equipment. So for the unit, for both of the units there, essentially we're going to say, all right, trainer, we got 50, we got a total duration of 50 hours. How much are we going to charge for that trainer's time? Okay, equipment, what could be required? Well, maybe book resources could be maybe $300. Okay, and then certificates, maybe that's $20. All right. Maybe you need some stationery, pencils, all right? So we've got all these different things. You want to add up the total and pop it in there, okay? Now, workplace application, how would you ensure the learner is able to transfer the skills and knowledge? Well, probably in here we want to write in, we would do simulated tasks and role plays. We would do observable tasks in the work environment, okay? What else? We would do mystery shoppers, things like that. We would get people to come in and test out the candidate's skills and knowledge. Okay. Learning material and resources required. Well, you could put in YouTube clips, handouts, cultural sensitivity, training materials, all those different kind of things. WHS, evacuation hazards incident reporting. Okay. So this could be evacuation procedures, PPE requirements, hazard reports, things like that. All right, strategies to monitor and review learning program. So you can put in, the learning program will be reviewed in 3 months' time or in 2 weeks' time, and all stakeholders will be invited to review the progress of the training program so far. Program manager's endorsement, well, you just can put in your name, and then you can put in the date. Client representative, that can be Tim Jones, and pop the date of when that's signed. All right. Now, we are going to ask you to plan one of the sessions that you would actually deliver with Toby. Okay, so date of initial consult, put that in. And we're going to get you to put, again, the name of the client and employee, so it's Toby Smith. Type of business, it's still a coffee shop. Program title, we're going to call it maybe Customer Service Skills 101, or another one I like to use is It's Not Just a Cup of Coffee, all right? Or Customer Experience at Coffeeholics, whatever it might be, okay? Contact person, again, is Tim Jones. Phone number, you can make that up. And email, you can make that up, all right? I think we've been going with Tim Jones at coffeeholics.com, all right? Qualification to be delivered. Again, this is coming back to this part here, which was this, SITS 0036 customer service, all right? And you're going to put that in. Now, unit to be delivered, code and title. All right, so you're going to pick one of these units, provide service to customers or show social and cultural sensitivity, okay? You're going to pick one of those, all right? And you're going to put that in there, code and title. Target group, you're going to describe Toby in a little bit of detail, just like we've been doing previously. He's unmotivated, disorganized, whatever you choose. Entry requirements, it could be Toby must be employed and he is undertaking the qualification in order to one day achieve his goals, and he is looking to upskill in the areas of customer service. Okay, delivery mode and duration. I think we've we might have said a certain number of hours for this unit. I think we might have said 20 or 30 or 40. And so we could then break that down into days. So we could say 3 days, each day will be a face-to-face workshop of 8 hours or 10 hours. Okay, delivery method, it could be face-to-face workshops, mentor, like on-the-job mentoring, things like that. We're going to go through and tick the boxes as to how he will be assessed. So he could be assessed Q&A oral. It could be workplace observation. You can tick multiple ways for this, and it's not going to impact the amount of work that you do at all. So don't be concerned about that. Okay. Brief description of assessments and process, when and how. So you may say that after completing the unit, he will be assessed on Tuesday afternoons via an observation, and then a written test on Saturday mornings that will go for approximately 1 hour. Okay, however you want to assess him. Okay, possible schedule for delivery and assessment, session titles. Okay, so a possible schedule for delivery and assessment activities. So this could be things like, again, we're going to repeat a little bit of the above, but he will be trained on Tuesdays, assessed on Wednesdays, however you want to schedule it up. Okay, you may even put in specific dates for the training as well. Okay, now session title here, you may pick either of these units. All right, so let's pick this one here. So let's pick that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. I'm going to whack it into Google, and I'm going to click enter. Okay, provide service to customers. This comes up, all right? So this is a unit of competency. We're imagining we're training him on that. So how many elements does this one have? It has 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we're imagining that we're going to do is we're going to teach him these elements, okay? So hopefully you've understood how I've got to this page, okay? And, well, the first one there says communicate with internal and external customers. So you could put session 1 could be powerfully communicating with customers, okay? So we're making up titles in relation to those elements. So we had 5 elements, so there's probably going to be 5 sessions maybe, okay? And you're just going to create titles that would correlate. So session 1 could be powerful communications with external customers, and cool. Session 2 could be, let's see, communication with your team members, okay? Session 3 could be dealing with customer complaints, whatever you choose, okay? But it's all going to relate back to that unit of competency that we just look at here, okay? Provide service to customers, okay? So you're going to fill that out. Now, review of learning program. Consider the risks to your learning program. This could be things like budget blows out. It could be not enough resources. It could be the trainer gets sick or personality clash. Okay. How will you review your plan post-delivery? So will you do an online survey? Will you do paper-based survey with trainee? Will you have a meeting with the trainer? Things like that. Okay. Here, you're going to write in the code of the unit. Okay, so again, code of the unit is going to be this. Okay, you're just going to write the code in, then you're going to tick demonstration, question, oral, workplace observation. You're just going to tick the boxes to how you're doing the assessment. Okay, organizational strategies. All right, so again, the strategies are proposed to support the work-based learning program. So this could be extra staff put on, flexible schedule, okay? Monitoring the learning, the following strategies will be used to monitor the learning. It could be weekly catch-ups with trainee, okay? You can basically repeat what you said in the earlier section, okay? Learner engagement. How will you encourage your learner to take responsibility for their own self-learning and self-reflect on their own progress? So this could be things like getting the student to write a success journal, or the key learnings that they got from the previous session, or what they're doing extremely well, or creating a learning log and the key tasks that they have started to implement, okay, as a result of going through their sessions, okay. Learning materials and resources required. So this could be things like textbooks, it could be about the manuals, it could be YouTube clips, things like that. OH&S, very similar to before, it could be PPE, evacuation requirements, all of that. Okay, so you're going to find that repeats the previous sections a little bit. Strategies to monitor review repeats the previous sections. Okay, so that could be weekly catch-up meetings, it could be mystery shoppers, it could be a stakeholder meeting after the end of the course. All right, so coming down, now we've got a session plan 1. Now we're actually going to get you to plan out how you would deliver one of the sessions that you wrote up as a title for here. Okay, so session 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could pick one of these and you're going to write up a session plan on it. Okay, so let's say that you picked dealing with customer complaints. So you're going to write out a session on how you would teach Toby to deal with customer complaints. So program name, you're going to give it a name, session title, dealing with customer complaints. Okay, trainer, your name, and session length. We recommend about 15-20 minutes, probably 15, and go through and fill this out. Okay, as if you were going to deliver that session. Okay, now we have meeting with learner. Okay, by the way, this session is optional if you do it or not, but we do recommend that you do it because it's going to give you a lot more, I guess, more validity and more content for the next section. Okay, so meeting with learner. This is where you're going to imagine that you've sat down with Toby and you're going to plan out, I guess, how you're going to customize everything to him a little bit. Okay, so you're going to sit down. So your answer for this could be, I sat down with Toby. We discussed that his preferred learning style is that he's much more of a visual person. He loves to watch videos. He loves to watch other people do things. And as a result, we are going to watch a lot of YouTube clips together and make sure that we bring a lot of physical demonstration to how we do things, all right? And his personal goals are XYZ, XYZ. And as a result, we are going to make sure that we achieve those goals by doing whatever it might be, okay? So you can really personalize the information here and get creative. Okay, so learner signature is going to be the person that's acting as Toby, okay, and then trainer signature is you, date is the date that you had this meeting, okay. Now, review of learning program, you're going to get this filled out by another classmate, okay, that is going to read through your program that you've created, and they're going to give you some feedback as to how effective they think it might be. So we've got your name, we've got learner name is Toby Smith, data review is the date that this is being filled out, learning goals of program to upskill Toby in the areas of customer service, strengths of program. Well, this information is going to be filled out by your reviewer, of course, and then they're going to sign it and put the date, okay? So coming down, post-implementation review, okay? So after you delivered your session, or we presuppose that you delivered your session, what cues did you notice that your learner was understanding what you taught them through the program? So how did you know that your learner was picking up the skills, okay? 2, when there was a challenge for the learner, how did you adjust your process? How did you make it more understandable for Toby, okay? In your opinion, how successful was the work-based pathway in achieving the objectives of the client and why, okay? So what kind of indicators of success are you looking for there? So it could be, yes, the program was extremely successful because Toby now smiles and he greets the customers in a warm, engaging manner, Okay, how did you as a trainer demonstrate ethical behavior at all times? So for you, were you respectful to Toby? Did you use polite language? Did you, let's say, avoid any inappropriate terminology? All those kind of different things. All right. Now, completion meeting. Okay, so this is imagining that you are completed with your relationship with Toby, and you're going to put in the date, the time, and you're going to make some notes as to Toby's progress. So it could be sat down with Toby and we discussed that his performance has been exceptionally good in the following areas. He has really improved in these areas. However, he still needs further practice on these things and these things. Okay, so we're basically creating a bit of a feedback report for Toby here. Okay, and trainer signature, that's your name. Learner signature is Toby Smith, and also whoever is playing the role of Toby Smith. Qualified assessor, that's going to be filled out by your Success Training Academy assessor. Okay. All right, observation checklist. This is filled out by your Success Training Academy assessor. Okay, so they're going to go through and circle the yeses, and this is not a page that you need to worry about. Okay, learner signature is you, trainer signature is Success Training Academy signature, date. Okay, overall feedback. Cool. Now, let's get into scenario 2. This is for Sally. Okay, this is for Sally. Same coffee shop, but this is for Sally. All right, date of initial consult. That is basically the date that you are filling this form out. Name of client, still Coffeeholics. Type of business, coffee shop. Competency standards, tick that. Contact person, it's still the same as before, Tim Jones. All right, owner, phone number, email to Tim Jones at Coffeeholics. Right. What's the biggest areas of concern? So you can go back to the original scenario, and in this case for Sally, it was all about her inability to make a great cup of coffee. So we're going to train her up to be able to make a great cup of coffee. What do you need your employee to be able to do? Well, answer that based on the cup of coffee. Okay, learning, so contractual requirements, you could say that Sally must be paid for her training. She works 5 days a week. And she's a full-time staff member, whatever it might be. So you've got a bit of poetic license on this area. Okay, recommendations to your client. All right, so competency or competencies that could be mapped to the client requirements. Well, in this case, what I'm going to recommend that you do is check out Cert 3 in Hospitality. Check out the SIT 30616, Cert 3 in Hospitality. Okay, so that is the code and title that you can suggest for her. So you can put that in there. All right. Delivery and assessment context and pathways. You could say on the job, in the workplace, during her shift, and also some workshops outside her work time. Okay. Possible schedule for delivery. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, up to you. Okay, characteristics, we're going to describe Sally in a bit of detail. Maybe she is a full-time employee, maybe she's highly motivated, but she's got low technical skills with computers, and maybe she's got low language literacy and numeracy, whatever it might be. Okay, WHS requirements specific to the workplace, so that's specific to the coffee shop. Okay, relevant workplace documents, pretty similar to Toby. We've got WHS manual, staff manual, those kind of things. Train signature, that's your signature. Date signed, put the date. Okay, learning program pathway for individual, put the name of the RTO, Success Training Academy. Your name, so we got Coffeeholics, Sally Applegate. Okay, goals for the workplace learning pathway, very similar to Toby. We're to upskill Sally to be able to make a great cup of coffee and enhance the product experience. All right, name, class, role, Sally Applegate. Description, you're going to put in some things that she's responsible for in the coffee shop. Could be making coffee, cleaning, serving customers, all those things. Career goals, you can make that up, all right? Profile and characteristics, you can make that up. Training package, code and title. Well, again, that's going to come back to the Cert 3 in hospitality, okay? And then unit of competency. So we're going to now pick the units that we want Sally to do. All right, so we're going to come down. We've got how many units in total? We've got 15. All right, so we've got 7 core. So we want to make sure that we cover off the core units. And then we've got 8 electives. Okay, and in her case, because one of her challenges is making coffee, probably we definitely want to find, let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. Excellent, that's the one I want. We want to find hint, hint, nudge, nudge, prepare and serve espresso coffee. Okay, that's one that we definitely want to include. Okay, so make sure you include that one. All right, so we've got 15 units. So you're going to write out the core, the core units. They got them there. And then we've got the electives. Okay, so you can pick any that you think would be appropriate, but probably you want to pick ones that are maybe in this area, and you definitely want to pick the one that we've got here as well. Okay, so make sure you do that. And you're going to fill out the code. You're going to fill out how long would it take for each of those units. So you could say 20 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours per unit. Totally up to you. C and E is core and elective. Okay. Assessment method is observation, written test, and those details. Okay. So how are you going to assess each of those units? Okay. If you run out of space, you need to add an extra sheet of paper. Feel free to do that. That's cool. Okay, total duration is how many hours in total. Delivery strategies and options. Well, that's going to be face-to-face workshops, supervision in the coffee shop area, those kind of things. All right, organizational strategies. How the following strategy be proposed to support the work-based learning pathway. Again, it's going to be flexibility. It's going to be extra staff put on. It could even be incentives for Sally to complete her tasks and a pay increase at the end of that. Okay, monitoring learning. How are we going to make sure that the learning is going well? Following strategy to be used to address barriers to effective participation. Go back and have a look at what you wrote for Toby in his situation. That may give you some ideas. Okay, we're going to go through and cost it out like we did last time. Okay, again, there's no right or wrong at all. The figures that you make up are the figures that you make up. Okay, so coming down, how will you ensure that the learner is able to transfer their skills and knowledge back to the workplace? Well, the rest of this part, I imagine will be pretty self-explanatory because we've already covered it with Toby. Learning material and resources required. Well, in her case, because she's making coffee, we probably want to say coffee machine, coffee beans, milk, those kind of things. WHS evacuation, you can fill that out. Strategies for monitoring and review, well, you can repeat what you had previously. Program manager's endorsement. That's going to be your name, date, client representative. It can be Tim Jones, date. All right. Now, this we're going to focus on one of the units of the Cert 3 in hospitality. So date, you can put in the date. Name of client, still the same as before. We got Coffeeholics and Sally Applegate, type of business, coffee shop. Program title, you could say Magical Coffee, whatever you choose, right? Program title, totally up to you. All right. Contact person, Tim Jones. Phone number, as before. Put that in. Email, Tim Jones at. Okay. Qualification to be delivered. Let's take a look. All right. So we've got Cert 3 in hospitality. All right. SIT 30616. All right. You can put that in. Put that in here. Okay. Unit to be delivered is If you choose, I mean, you can choose any other unit for this section, but one that makes a bit of sense is that we look at this one here, which is prepare and serve espresso coffee. So we can put that one in there. So that one goes in there. Okay, prepare and serve espresso coffee. Okay, target group, we're going to describe Sally in a bit of detail there. She's a full-time employee, low LLN, all that jazz, all right? Entry requirements, we could say that must be currently employed in the coffee shop, all of that. Okay, delivery mode and duration, total days, how long are you going to allocate for this particular unit? Okay, prepare and serve espresso coffee. So you could say it will carry over 6 days, each day will go for 4 hours, whatever it might be. Delivery method, it could be face-to-face mentoring and supervision, blah, blah. All right, assessment, go through and tick how you're going to assess the unit. Brief description of assessment process, when and how will that take place? Okay, will that be on Tuesday afternoons, and will it be via a written quiz, and on Saturdays it will be a role play, and it will be simulated tasks, whatever you choose. Okay, coming down, now we're going to plot out our session titles, and with the unit. All right, so let's bring up the unit, prepare and serve espresso coffee. So let me grab that one. All right, and just like I did before, I'm going to put that code into Google, and I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to click prepare and serve espresso coffee. Okay, I'm going to come down, and I can see the elements, okay, and it's got 7 elements. All right, so I'm going to create some session titles based on that. Okay, so we're going to put some session titles in there. Okay, so coming back, we got element number 1 is organized coffee workstation. So it could be session 1, getting equipment ready. So you could deliver an entire session on getting your equipment ready. Session 2 could be, I don't know anything about coffee, but it could be based on some element number 2, selecting and grinding the coffee beans. Okay. However, all you can do is capture this information and pop it into a session title there. Okay, session 3 session title. Okay, go through and fill that out. Okay, now consider the risks in your plan, such as budget, resources. What are all the things that could go wrong? Okay, post-implementation review. How will you review your plan post-delivery? This could be a survey, could be online, could be feedback from your trainer, from your students, whatever. Okay, unit of competency. Put the code in there, and the code, as we know, SIT HFAB 005. Put that in that space there, and then tick the appropriate box as to how you're going to assess the unit. Okay, organizational strategies, monitoring learning. This information is very similar to what we wrote back for Toby. All right, so you want to come up with your own ideas for this, and you definitely want to put your answers into a sentence. All right, learning material and resource required. What would be required to deliver the session to Sally in regards to the coffee unit? All right, OH&S, you can fill that out. Strategies, fill that out. All right, session plan. This is where we're going to put together one of our sessions from up here. Okay, so we're going to imagine that we're going to deliver session maybe 1 or session 3, totally up to you. All right, you're going to fill out the session plan. All right, and again, the length we suggest that you write in 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, you're going to fill this out. Remember, it's based on, in this case, we've chosen making a cup of coffee, but you could choose any of the other units, and you may not have even filled this out as a coffee unit. You may have picked one of the other units from the Cert 3 in hospitality. That's totally fine as well. Okay, you're going to come down. You're going to fill that out just like we did with Toby, but this one we're focused on coffee, possibly. Okay, now we're going to come down. We're going to have a meeting with Sally. And the answer for here would be, sat down with Sally. We discussed that her major areas of needs are these things, these things, these things. Currently, Sally is struggling with whatever. in our sessions, because she loves to do practical tasks, we're going to do lots of role plays and kinesthetic activities, really getting to know the coffee machine, whatever, right? Okay, learner signature is you. Trainer signature, learner signature would be whoever is playing the role of Sally. Trainer signature is you. Date is the date that you are having this meeting. Okay. Review of learning program, refer previous example. Okay, and ultimately this is going to be someone in your class that's going to be reviewing your program and giving you some feedback. So again, name of learning program, it's whatever you've called it. So you could have called it Magical Coffee. Facilitator name is your name. Learner name is Sally Applegate. All right, date of review is a date that your classmate is reviewing this for you. Learner goals and strengths, weaknesses, recommendations. This is filled out by your fellow classmate on your program. Date, put the date in. Okay, post-implementation review. Okay, go through and answer these questions based on Sally. Okay, completion meeting. Okay, and this date must correlate to, for example, if you said the program was going to take, say, 2 months, well, make sure that you put in the date as post 2 months, okay, and put the time, okay. And trainer signature is you, then learner signature is whoever played the role of Sally, and then qualified assessor is whoever has observed you have this meeting as part of your TAE course. Okay, so this is typically assigned by the Success Training Academy assessor. Okay, observation checklist, you're going to go, this is filled out by your Success Training Academy's assessor. So they're going to go through and tick yeses, and they're going to, where it says trainer signature, they're going to sign that for the date, and then learner signature is you. Okay, overall feedback. Okay, last page here, we just want you to sign it and put the date. Sign it and put the date. Okay. So I hope that all of the projects have now made sense to you for the design, for the presentation and the delivery cluster. Okay, so in total, we've got the 3 presentations with Julie Smithers and her situation at the real estate office. And then we've got the 2 work-based learning pathways. Okay, and going through this, I hope that my explanations have been helpful. Remember, they are only prompters, and you could have very different answers, but as long as they sort of follow the guidelines as to what we are looking for, then I imagine it will be fine. Just make sure, though, that when you put in your answers, you don't just put in dot points, you actually put things into a sentence, okay? So, hope this webinar has been helpful for you and that you've got a lot out of it. Good luck with your assessments, and we will see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.